Hello. These days, people are very excited about sharing their scary experience. And after I heard Sharon's experience in Vancouver, which has happened in the Stanley Park, I think I want to share one of mine as well. And it was not happened exactly inside Stanley Park, but it's a place where I live. Okay, let me explain more about the detail. It was in 1995. That time I was studying in Vancouver, and where I live is in downtown Robson Street. If people who live in Vancouver, they know Robson Street, which is uh, very popular for food, Japanese food, shopping, and the place where I live is a one-bedroom apartment, and it located at the end of Robson Street, which is next to Stanley Park. Not the next it doesn't mean that near Stanley Park is exactly next to, just beside. My building is just at the end of Robson Street, and when you cross the road, that was Stanley Park. It was not the main entrance. It's a there's a pool with the ducks and goose swimming. I think is the north part in Stanley Park. And let me tell you a story now. One day I finished school, and that time I was living with my girlfriend many years later, and she was my wife. Which means she was my wife. That means she's my ex-wife. She was my ex-wife, which we have been divorced. She was a Korean girl. And one day we finished school at about 4 o'clock, and when we went home, we gone past the we rent some videotape from I remember it was Blockbuster, it should be, and the movie, we ran the movie videotape, and I remember it was Forrest Gump. It was a long movie, about 2 hours and a half something. When we went home and we got changed, and there was a big futon in my living room, which is a big sofa bed, a 3-seat sofa bed. They call futon in Canada or America or something. And it was about 5 p.m. so it's still daylight, so we didn't turn on the light. She was sitting in the middle of the futon, and I was half lying down. Like, for example, this is a sofa bed, and she was sitting here, and I was half lying down and on the chair's arm, like this. When a couple fall in love at the beginning, they like playing hands, like you always holding hands like that. So it's what we did as well, the same. And we were holding my hand. I was like doing like this in this position, and I lying down and watching movie, and she was holding my hands, like playing hands. And after an hour, I think it's about 6 o'clock. The sky is already dark, very, very dark. And my girlfriend wanted to make some coffee. And she stand up. I was very shocked because at that time I was realized that the hand who I'm holding is not her hands, because she already standing up and she went to the kitchen or something, and my hand was still holding somebody's hand. I was very, very shocked at that time. I just jumped up. I was very, very scary, and it was horrible. And I jumped up, and I how to explain? I get grabbed. I couldn't look because this is empty under my futon. I couldn't see. I was so scared to see what it is under the sofa bed. So I went to get something to like, and there was I think I grabbed some yellow page. At that time it was every apartment have some yellow page, which is like this fake. I had about 4 or 5 beside the telephone, so I grabbed the yellow page and I throw it under the bed, and I keep throwing. I was so scared at that time. Then my girlfriend showed up, and I told her what happened, and she wasn't scared at all because she's a Christian. And we got changed and we rushed out to the coffee shop, and she kept telling me, "Don't worry, it's no big deal." And what I think is, of course, it's not. You're not worried. This is not happening on you. We didn't go back home at that night because I was really, really scared. But the problem is, I had already paid rent for 6 months. It was very silly. It was very silly. But why I'm doing that is because I'm not good at planning, especially with money. So it was in January, and I knew I'll go back to Hong Kong for some holiday in June. So I paid the rent for 6 months in once. So I've no need to worry about the rent after that. So I've already paid the rent. I spent half of my money, so I have no extra money to get another place again. I was so regretting. That night we didn't go back home, and we went to the bread garden. I'm not sure if there's still a bread garden in Vancouver these days or these years. That time, bread gardens is almost more popular than Starbucks, some Pacific coffee, and it's open 24 hours. And the next day after school, we invite many classmates to my place to have a party, and we kept having a party for a whole week. And after a week, then I feel a little bit better and better. And that was my experience in Vancouver. Okay, I want to share one more experience, and it was in London, which has happened in London. It was 1993, and one night, one of my friends who is living in outside London, is in the countryside, which is 2 or 3 hours by driving. One night we were so boring, I and my friends, and there were 5 of us. We decided to drive to visit my friends who's living outside London, and we started driving from about 11 at night, and when we arrived there, that was almost 2 o'clock in the morning, so everyone was tired. My friends was living in a 2 story house, and we were sleeping on the second floor, which is a guest room. And there were 5 of us, and one of them a couple. So the couple slept on the bed, and the rest of us slept on the floor. When everyone fell asleep, and I was just fell asleep, when I just closed my eyes, I'm sure I was not fell asleep yet. When I closed my eyes, and I feel some like wind, which is a strong wind comes to my face, just shook like that. Then I saw a scene, feel like I was standing in a big castle without the light on. I saw a picture, very classic, and the old-fashioned oil painting, which always shows in a movie. Then I opened my eyes straight away, and I saw everyone, my friends, and all of my friends were sleeping. Then I opened my eyes and I shouted. I couldn't move at that time. I couldn't move at all. And I wanted to shout, but I couldn't shout it loud. I couldn't shout it out. So I tried very, very hard to shout. I want to wake them up, but nobody hear me. Just after 10 seconds or less, I could move again, and my friends are all awake because they saw some strange happened on me. I asked them, "Did you hear a shout?" They said no. What they heard is just like that. So they were so scared, and I told them what happened. And some of them believe what I said, and some of them think that I was dreaming. But I'm sure I'm not dreaming, because I already opened my eyes. I saw them sleeping beside me. So how could I be dreaming? I just couldn't move. That was very, very real. Then after that, I didn't let them sleep. I kept them awake with me, keep telling, keep talking. And that was my second experience. But actually it's a first experience, because it happened before the Vancouver story. I ever studied in London, then after that I went to Vancouver. So this actually is my first experience. That's all. Thanks everyone.